Hey guys, welcome back to Astrology Bliss. Um, Today's honestly probably going to be a decently long video. So I'm sure most people are wondering what is going on right now. I was on Reddit last night and someone, wrote something where I responded like, no, everything's going to shit right now because Capricorn. Saturn is at 29 degrees Capricorn. So that means a lot. And yeah, basically, there's just a lot that's currently going on and a lot that's going to be going on. So I thought it would make a pretty interesting video. So I have made this beautiful birth chart. I hope you like it. Yeah, so basically, sorry, I just spaced out and never mind. But yeah, so the majority of planets are concentrated in two areas. So, oh my gosh, this is weird doing this with people watching. I don't know, I don't normally do that. Okay, sorry, I just had to fix a few things. So, we're going to be primarily focusing on this house and this house. So you can see in Capricorn, there is a stellium of 4 planets. And actually, when I made this chart, the moon was in Capricorn, but I figured by the time I made the video, the moon would have moved into Aquarius already. So yes, we have a stellium of 4 planets, which basically that's like super, super concentrated energy. And not only is it super concentrated energy, but they're all very, each planet can be very destructive in a certain area, and when they're all together, not Jupiter is like the one thing that's kind of making things not terrible. But I wanted to go over, okay, first we'll start with Capricorn. Oh my gosh, Saturn at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Yes, so first let's talk about the sign of Capricorn in general. So Capricorn rules politics, authority, control, government, business. Yeah, basically all of those things. And for this chart, this is like, a world chart. This is for everyone. So I just did it with a natural chart. So, starting with the first house being Aries and so forth. So the midheaven, which again is the public sector for all the things I just mentioned, that naturally falls in Capricorn. So we have Mars there, which is, it's energy. First of all, it's drive, it's aggression. Jupiter is the planet of luck and expansion, which is nice, but also wherever those energies are, it's going to expand wherever it is. Pluto is the planet of transformation and also destruction and death. Also, I'm not saying that it's just, it rules Scorpio. Scorpio is technically the sign of death. If you're a Scorpio, don't hate me for saying that. It's just a fact. And Saturn rules Capricorn. So Saturn is the planet that teaches us lessons. It's kind of like the disciplinarian of the zodiac. And it's also obstacles and blockages and restrictions. So what does it mean if it's at 29 degrees Capricorn? Something that I use as an astrologer in my practice, and it's honestly really helped me a lot to understand different placements in my chart and other people's charts. So there are 360 degrees of the zodiac. So, you know, someone whose sun is at 10 degrees Pisces and someone whose sun is at 25 degrees Pisces, they're going to present very differently. And if you're following a transit like Saturn, you know, which degree it's on is very important. And specifically, if it's on the 29th sign, that's considered an anaritic degree. Generally, the 29th degree of any sign is stressful, and there is some sort of crisis in the 29th sign. And when you have a planet like Saturn, and it you know, it has to do with control and government and politics and businesses, everything going on in the world right now, like, and I guess I can make this point now. The two areas that have the most planet concentrations right now are Capricorn, which I just told you, you know, everything that rules, and Pisces. So Pisces actually rules hospitals. It rules the collective, specifically the collective unconscious, fears, karma, endings, but also selfless service to humanity, institutions. So with the two planetary concentrations being in those two areas, you can kind of get a better picture of what's going on. Then I totally sidetracked from what I was saying. So when I was talking about the degrees, I used something called Sabian symbols. So Sabian symbols were written by Mark Edmund Jones and Elsie Wheeler. Mark was an astrologer and Elsie was a very gifted clairvoyant. And when they were coming up with the Sabian symbols, which each one is kind of like an individual story, like a scene, a picture that Elsie, because she's clairvoyant, she was able to get this image for each degree. And I have found them to be incredibly helpful. I've been studying them for probably 3 or 4 years now, astrology for 8, and I brought those into the mix and it was awesome. So I really want to use those as to help you get some clarity for what's going on right now. So we can start with 29 degrees of Capricorn. And the way that Sabian symbols work is that Sabian symbols start at 1 and zodiac degrees start at 0. So this is going to say Capricorn 30, but it's really 29 degrees Capricorn. So the scene for this degree, directors of a large firm meet in a secret conference, is the title. This symbol shows meeting with others in order to lay out plans, to have secret meetings of people that are often VIPs in some way, or at least in charge of decisions or government empires. The directors meet, they conference or just conference call, exchange views, ideas, gossip. There may be decisions made or plans to be laid out. Do you make all your decisions on your own or do you need help? You can often call on the relevant knowledge of friends or authorities, as if you're bound to know them or how to meet them, and you'll iron out the details. Sometimes, however, you may feel shut out by those in charge. Masterly control, sharing innermost secrets, confidential information, the big guys, calling the shots, governments and secret spies, strategies, having a say, councils, doors. The caution with this degree, excluding those affected by decisions, exploiting people or situations, being kept in the dark, gossip, loose lips, refusal of entry, the glamour of big business. So, with Saturn being at that degree, I just want you to keep that in mind. I'm not trying to plant conspiracy theories in anyone's head, but if it happens, it happens. That is totally up to you. So that is the degree that Saturn is at right now. So now I want to look at these 3 planets right here. they're all really important together because they're all conjunct with each other, which means that they're all within 10 degrees of each other. So the last decan of Capricorn is amplified, which again, a lot of energy. They're not even spread out across Capricorn. They're like all at the end having a party. They can hang out together. We can't do that. Just saying. So for Mars at 21 degrees Capricorn, the Sabian symbol for that, a general accepting defeat gracefully. This symbol shows being able to see where and when to accept the things that are not working and letting go of events or people or thoughts that no longer work for you. There's times when we realize there's no longer any point in fighting, and to win in some situations may be impossible. At the time of surrender, it is the valor of the battle and the way that you handled it that will be remembered. Sometimes it's how gracefully you handle defeat that will be the measure. You will go on other endeavors and win. You don't always have to accept defeat. Sometimes you have to accept your own victories. Truth of inner worth, learning that every minor skirmish is not a defeat, giving up and being willing to start again. Nobility of character, letting go of the charge around anger. The caution, being a bad loser, feeling everything's going to come out badly, reliance on self-limitations, seeing the negative, betrayal and loss of support, surrendering. So Mars is much quicker moving than the other three, but I do think that it's very relevant for this past week. So I know plenty of people who have been like, no, like the virus isn't a real thing and blah, 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 and just going about life as normal. And there's a certain point where I didn't want to either, but you kind of have to give in and be like, okay, this is happening. This is a real thing. You can also look at it from a financial perspective. What's going on with the economy right now? And not just in the US, everywhere. Everyone's economy is tanking a lot. And, there is a big call to everyone for how do you handle that? I know people who've lost a third of their life savings, and how are they handling that? Are they, rebelling against the whole, everything that we need to do in order to stay healthy? Or are they, just taking it one step at a time, doing what they can and not blowing up over it? The next one's really interesting. So it's Jupiter at 22 degrees Capricorn. So a soldier receiving 2 awards for bravery in combat. This symbol shows being able to receive praise, awards, or rewards when they are due. We often need to be acknowledged for the issues or causes we've fought for and the battles we've endured. True deeds of valor and bravery should be rewarded. Whether you are rewarded, respected, or recognized, for the things you've done or not, you know that you've done them. You will find that your efforts will at some time be recognized and some appreciation, payment, or compensation will be offered. You may also be the one who needs to recognize others' achievements. Subsequent awards are often greater than the first because the dangers are well understood. Repeated bravery, medals, tributes, honors given, insurance or legal claims, giving thanks, recognition for persistence, award ceremonies, posthumous awards. What? I cannot pronounce that word. So the caution here, awards as band-aids for the purposes of assuaging the guilt of the populace, so often produced in war, desperate for recognition, rejection lines, bribery. What I thought of here was, I woke up this morning and, I started to read about it last night, but when I woke up today, I looked at the New York Times and I'm like, oh, okay, Trump is giving all of us $1,000 to $2,000. I'm like, okay. And initially I was like, wow. And I felt almost safe and protected. And I've never felt that way with Trump, by the way. And yeah, I was like, wow, maybe everything's going to be okay. And I thought it was interesting. So apparently our country has done, you know, the government giving people money before, usually was payouts of about 300. So, later this evening I was taking a walk and I was thinking like, why are these payouts so much higher? And then I started thinking, again, not trying to plant conspiracy theories in your head, but if it happens, it happens. So then I started thinking, in my experience with narcissists, right? When a narcissist feels like they are losing control over you, or they just want to reaffirm that they have control over you, what happens? Love bombing, presents, gifts, things that make you feel appreciated and safe. So I'm like, is it possible this money could be something about maybe to do with that? Again, I'm not complaining. I can certainly use it. I desperately need it. But I tend to question most things. And when something seems too good to be true, it usually is, or there are strings. And the one thing to keep in mind with that is like, it may offer you a sense of security right now, but at the same time, it's still Trump, and just keep that in mind. And my main thing that I've been thinking about, I do believe the virus is real. Okay, that's not a question. I am being even more OCD than I usually am, and my hands are cracked open and disgusting from how much hand sanitizer I've been using. But what freaks me out is how this isn't one government, taking exceptional control over their people. It's all of them at the same time. So, yes, we are kind of learning from what China did, which was to put their entire country on lockdown and give them severe restrictions. And, at the time, we're all like, oh, wow, I can't believe they're doing that. And now, guess what? We're doing the same thing. I live in New York, and we are supposedly having a shelter in place thing where we're pretty much going to be locked in our houses for X amount of time. And I do understand doing your part, obviously, and I want to do what I can to not get anyone else sick. But at the same time, I was very shocked at how much control the government is taking over people, but also how easily people seem to be complying with that. And, I started thinking, you can have people complying with orders, but somewhere, especially like the US, where it's a free country, whatever, they consider it one. And, at least that's what the country was founded on. And when one day you realize, like, wait, I don't have control over anything. I can't even go to a restaurant or a bar or I can't go see my friends. I can't take public transportation. I can't do anything. So he may have people's compliance, but for how long is he going to actually have that? And I feel like paying Americans a large sum might buy him a little more time for compliance. And again, I'm not trying to plant conspiracy theories in anyone's head, but I'm just saying the amount of government control is not something I'm comfortable with at all. And I've been questioning it a lot. Next, I want to talk about Pluto, which is at 24 degrees Capricorn. And the Sabian symbol for that is a woman entering a convent. This symbol shows spending time in contemplation and dedication to one's spiritual life or to a higher cause. At times, you will have to drop the demands of society and the lower base nature to concentrate on more spiritual, higher, and meaningful things in life. There may be a need to get away from the pressures of society, contemplating your inner thoughts and values. This may be a lonely passage, or you may be disenchanted with the ways of others. There needs to be times of inner work just as for outer. Dedicating oneself to the big picture can bring rewards, but hiding yourself away too much can lead to losses on many levels. Spiritual retreat, losing the libido, renouncing things, taking vows, marriage with God, longing for love of a higher kind, sexual retreat, sacrifice, opting out, maintaining faith. Self-sacrifice to win sympathy, complete neglect. The caution is self-sacrifice to win sympathy, complete neglect of self and hiding away, crisis of faith, feeling devoid of emotion, lost and alone, self-denial, loss of hope. So with this whole self-isolation thing, I strongly see where Pluto is right now as having a strong role in that. So one thing that I wanted to mention, so Saturn is about to go to 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is great. We're going to get a break for a little bit. It's either until May or June. So we have May or June when Saturn is moving through Aquarius, and then it's going to retrograde, and it's going to go back through Capricorn. So it's going to hit that point again. And it's actually going to end up making a conjunction with these other planets. Not Mars, but Mars will make a conjunction somewhere, and probably in Aquarius with it. Or maybe Pisces. Actually, I don't know. At some point. But another interesting thing is the 29 degrees Capricorn. Every single one of those planets in the Capricorn stellium is actually going to hit the 29 degrees of Capricorn point when each of them transits out. Mars will transit through that point fairly quickly. Jupiter within the next couple, maybe a few months, unless it goes retrograde before then. And Pluto takes forever to complete transits. But the point is, the issues at this particular degree are going to keep coming up. That's not something that's done and dusted as soon as Saturn crosses into Aquarius. So let me see. Then I have some Sabian symbols for the first few degrees of Aquarius as well. So for 0 degrees of Aquarius, an old adobe mission in California. This symbol shows a safe and comfortable place to live, work, pray, and practice our spiritual lives. The old adobe missions were built with a great deal of effort, sacrifice, commitment, and a sense of community, with one eye on the path and the other on very real everyday needs of the people it serves. Sometimes we assume our beliefs are right and that others need to be shown the truth. Effort should be turned to creating infrastructures to pursue these beliefs. Relating is not about control, but acceptance and reverence of each person's divinity. There should be no pretensions, but a forging of links to new worlds. Withdrawing, spiritual retreat, natural surroundings, creating civilizations out of natural elements, finding places to work with spirit, sanctuaries and learning, houses, centers. The caution, dogmatism, pushing one's beliefs and ideas, having all the answers, moving in, taking over, monuments to the past, cults, indoctrinations, chiefs, Indians. So it has the potential to be a more, yes, spiritual degree, but spiritual in like a community sense. But going with the self-isolation, it can be isolation, quarantine. It can also be, making our houses, our apartments somewhere that we truly feel safe, whether that's how safe we are health-wise, and really using that time to spiritually connect, which I recommend doing if you don't know what to do with yourself during this time, that and creative projects. And then, the next degree of Aquarius, an unexpected thunderstorm. The symbol shows the need to withstand storms and things that whip up unexpectedly. It can show sudden flashes of inspiration, which, by the way, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Keep that in mind. Intuition or clairvoyance, those aha moments. It can be thoughts and emotions that erupt out of nowhere. They can be brilliant or unstable, or both. You will likely find that you are suddenly tested or taken by surprise. Inner strength and stability are put to the test, and you learn a lot from your experiences. The effect can be quite liberating, although there can be an initial shock. Thunderstorms clear the air after an extreme buildup of energy. There can be a sense of awe and wonder at the power of natural events, sudden visitations of natural wonder, breakthrough moments, a break in tension in the atmosphere, thunder, lightning, electricity, the Tower card in tarot being a lightning rod. The caution, losing control without warning, emotional instability, bottling up and then blowing up, storms in a teacup. Seizing up with fear, loud bangs, and crashes that stun. So, yeah, really, there could be a bunch of different ways this goes. I'm sorry, I have one more for Aquarius, just because I want you to see the progression. I think it's really helpful in understanding the movement and what's going to be coming up. And then really important is going to be where Neptune is placed right now. If you're still with me, bless you. And also, like, good for you because you're getting good information. Next degree of Aquarius. A deserter from the Navy stands suddenly aware of a dawning truth. Freedom is never the result of compromise. This symbol shows listening to one's conscience. To know when to do one's duty, step up to the mark, or when it's time to leave and say enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. You or someone else may find that rigorous restraints and rules are no longer bearable. A decision to opt out may be a moral one or to maintain a free spirit. One shouldn't have to compromise themselves in order to be safe, secured, employed, or have a purpose in life. However, there are consequences for deserting, not playing the game. Are you prepared for them? It can also show being taken away from home and family for reasons not of your own choosing. Rebellion, leaving although allegiance was pledged, jumping ship, wrestling with one's conscience, going AWOL, packing up and leaving, sudden realizations, opting out. The caution. Not being prepared to play by the rules, withdrawing when one should be involved in a physical, mental, or emotional way. Refusal, rats deserting the sinking ship. This degree I feel is especially important because, I was just talking about all this government control and restrictions and strict rules, crazy global government control. And I was thinking, like, it's great that people are complying so easily, but why? And how long can he actually get people to do that? So I would bet a lot. I would bet all my gel pens, and I love them, that, maybe not, I really like them. Anyway, I would bet a lot that by the time Saturn gets to 2 degrees of Aquarius, there is some kind of, people start taking a step back and being like, wait, what the hell is going on? Yeah, right now I'm in the phase of questioning it, but not enough to actually be like, I'm not doing this. So that's interesting. And yes, and the next degree of Aquarius I was going to do, it's actually about healing. It was actually a pretty pleasant one, but I feel like I'm probably losing you already if I haven't. So let's go over to Pisces. Okay, so Neptune's at 18 degrees of Pisces. Neptune is ruled by Pisces. So the planet and the sign carry this similar energy, the same energy. And this one I thought was really interesting. In a huge tent, a famous revivalist conducts his meeting with a spectacular performance. This shows hearing or delivering important messages, decrees, or rules for living, making sense of spiritual instruction, seeing who's an authority worth listening to and who's not. Seeing through false intentions or messages could be one of your objections now. You may need to organize and stage a display to promote, teach, or disseminate, bringing a feeling of community into a common goal. With the power to influence or sway groups of people, there needs to be a feeling of moderation and the ability to listen as well as speak. This can, however, picture situations of hysteria or overstating one's case. Is the audience listening? Is the cause just? Energy and inspiration, having a lot to say, evangelism, whipped up emotions, media circus, instructional or dogmatic, ecstasy, loud voices, mind control, performing, showmanship. The caution, greedy spiritualism, big egos, charlatans, overblown feelings of abilities, manipulation or exploitation, controlling others, bigotry, getting worked up, and lies. Can you just take a minute? Like, if you need to rewind and hear that, yeah. What the? So with Neptune on that point, basically what that means is Neptune, wherever Neptune is, it's where things are a little foggy, where we don't have clarity. So what makes this whole situation so scary is that we don't have concrete answers. We don't have clarity. We don't know how long this is going to go on. Again, the point that Neptune is at, if you need to rewind and hear that again, please do. And again, I am not denying that the virus is real. I truly believe it is, but something just seems off, and something seems off. I don't know. Yeah. It's crazy. Okay, so Mercury retrograde. So Mercury officially went retrograde in February. Technically, it was stationary retrograde on the 6th. You can see that on the 16th. So the shadow period for Mercury retrograde, it would be starting on the 2nd. So personally, I always feel like the shadow period of retrogrades are way worse than the actual retrograde. I see the retrograde as like the eye of a storm, kind of, where like you're very aware that there's a storm, but you're in the middle of it. So we were starting to hear like we've been hearing trickles about coronavirus for a while, but I feel like it started ramping up in February. Let's see. So it technically ended on March 9th. So it was stationary direct on the 9th and 10th. And then all of last week, it was in the strongest part of the shadow retrograde phase. So the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Yeah, and last week is pretty much when we were like, what the hell is happening? And this week, we're now very aware of what's happening. Yeah, so Mercury did its retrograde thing, and, it retrograded, or it was direct in Pisces, and then it was like, oh, wait, I'm going to go back here and back into Aquarius. And, it's pulling that Mercury energy from Pisces backwards so we can reanalyze and relook at all these things. Example, hospitals. What's going on with hospitals? What's wrong with our healthcare system? Do we need to fix it? Into Aquarius, which rules groups and communities and humanitarian stuff. So now it's going back into Pisces, so we can look at the situation with clear thoughts. Yes, so Mercury is now, at least at the time of this video, again, it's also a fast-moving planet. It was at 1 degree of Pisces. So, a squirrel hiding from hunters. This shows being able to sense when to move and when to stop, to be out in the world or hiding away. There can be a heightened sense of awareness or alertness, and possibly an ability to hear or perceive subtle things in the environment. There may be aggression in the air with you probably one of the smaller players. You may feel threatened, which can come out from out of the blue. Not watching the news or avoiding negative stories can be one way of hiding. To be cautious is wise, but hiding can lead to missed opportunities for nourishment. Be wary of being bullied or holed up. Tactics to ensure survival. Vigilance. The media spreading fear and loathing. Security systems. Limit or restrict movement. Creative solutions, refugees, hunters, guns. The caution, bullied, those out there having more power than they deserve. Fear, not wanting to socialize, not speaking up for fear of being shot down. The NRL, paranoia. If that didn't hit a spot for you, yeah, I think there has been the distribution of too much power given away to the wrong places. I studied journalism, okay? There is a reason I'm not a journalist, and it is because I hate shit like this. I really do. Taking something that is, what is this? Taking something that is tragic and scary and using it. I mean, first, I do know people who are actual journalists, and I was like, I mean, this is definitely a nice boost for journalism. Yeah, it is, but at the expense of what? Public panic. People are really scared. I can't see my friends. I can't see my family. The feeling of being trapped is crazy. Like, I went to Rite Aid earlier and wore gloves because I'm not sure how scared I have to be. I can't buy toilet paper. I like toilet paper. Everyone does. But everyone is crazy right now. Yeah, so I really just wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope that this message reaches the right people. Yeah, because what I've been doing for the most part in my spare time is just analyzing everything and making myself kind of insane. But it helps if I share that insanity with you guys in hopes that maybe you can change your thought pattern and be like, maybe this is being blown up out of proportion. Maybe I don't need to panic this much. Yeah, I do personal chart readings. I can do future readings, like a solar return chart, which I just did one for myself because my birthday is on Sunday. It's gonna be a crazy party alone with my cat. It's fine. But a solar return chart I would do for your birthday for that year, and it would tell you, or I would tell you predictions for the upcoming year, themes you'll be dealing with. I also do compatibility charts, different types of compatibility charts. I feel. Oh, and progress charts to see where you are astrologically in your progressions and how you're progressing as a person astrologically. Yeah. Comment below if you're interested in a reading. We can discuss prices. I need to get my website back up and running. I don't do them for free. This one is free, but yeah, comment, subscribe, like the video, share it with everyone. Yeah, and take care, and don't let anyone make you nuts, guys. This time is crazy enough. Or is it? I don't know. Take care. Be well. I'll see you soon. Bye.